Welcome to Hy-Vee Today with Tony Tone. We're live inside Muscatine Hy-Vee on 2nd Avenue in Muscatine, streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Now, here's Tony Tone.
All right, back in the saddle. It's Hy-Vee Today with Tony Tone on Monday, the 30th of September. This is the last day of September. Can you believe it? Somebody wake Billy Joe Armstrong up because September is about to end. October coming in hot. September literally going out hot, though. It's going to be warm today, hence the red polo. I actually had a text from my boss, Hy-Vee store director Matt Schweitzer, yesterday because one of the rooftop air conditioners upstairs that cools off a couple of the offices, one being his and then our office and the accounting office, that one broke. So Chamberlain Heating and Air Conditioning is coming to replace that. But in the meanwhile, he said, might have to be the red polo. So I'm like, oh, I'm in. Like, I've been wearing it on Fridays, trying to not take advantage of it. I have the ability to wear it seemingly whenever per the dress code. But when your boss says that, so Matt's wearing it, I'm wearing it, and then my office mate Steve Graham shows up with a shirt and tie on. I'm like, what are you doing? You could have, go get, we have a bunch of these shirts still in this club. I'm like, go get one. You look different. I mean, it's the usual Hy-Vee attire, right? Is button-down tie. But when your boss sends you a text on a Sunday, thinking about the red polo, I was like, I'm in. Sign me up. You don't have to tell me twice. Today is the last Mega Meat Monday. So if you've been coming into the store and enjoying all the purchases in the meat department, seafood department, and in the deli that are going to save you at the gas pump, you're essentially taking a steak and turning it into cheap gas. It's pretty cool how that works. Today's the last Mega Meat Monday. This is it. Last opportunity to come in and spend $25 in meat, seafood, or deli and save 15 cents off per gallon. It's a fantastic deal, and we're super happy about that. Later in the show, I'll talk more about this. I just want to briefly mention tomorrow, Touchdown Tuesday, spend $48, get 48 cents on your fuel saver. You have to go to our Facebook page. If you're watching on Facebook, you scroll up a little, and you'll see the graphic because that has the number that they'll put in at the register. So make sure you show them that tomorrow, Touchdown Tuesday, spend $48, 48 cents on your fuel saver. It's an awesome deal. Hawkeyes put a thumping on Middle Tennessee as would be expected, right? I mean, we kind of thought, they were going to score a lot. But 48 is awesome for you because it's Touchdown Tuesday. And what else? Yeah, I was disappointed the weekend. It just rained. We were talking about that before the show started. Rained out a lot of events. The Muscatine Police and Fire Department's scheduled Battle of the Badges yesterday on Sunday was canceled because of all the rain that we got. I mean, at some points on Saturday night, it was just coming down in sheets. I was DJing a wedding at the Pearl City Station, and it was unbelievable amount of water coming down. And that, when you try to play a softball game, unless you have the world's best cleats, I don't think it's going to happen. So for the safety of everybody and the fact that Mustard Park is probably still pretty damp, that game was canceled, which is too bad. So I hope you had a good weekend. It's good to be with you. Another full week of shows for us here with the Hy-Vee Today program, and we're ready to start with our guest, who is no stranger to this show. Scott Schultz is the owner with Impact Athletic Performance. He's back. He looks like he's ready to impact my athletic performance. He's got shorts on, which you can't see. It's kind of like when you watch, the TV news, and this is true. A lot of those news anchors, they're rocking shorts sometimes, and all you see is Scott the shirt, rocking the shorts. How you doing, buddy? It's great to see you.
Good
Thanks
to see
for
you.
being here.
Absolutely.
I feel like I saw some cool pictures. Maybe it was last night or this morning. Some people from Impact Athletic Performance climbing a rope.
Yes.
And I don't know if I'm like a couple of years too young, but climbing the rope was never part of like a gym class for me growing up. I've never attempted to climb a rope. Scott, convince me and the people at home the health benefits of climbing a rope, because I saw that picture and I was like, I'm never going to do that in my life. But if you can convince me otherwise, look at that right there. That's never going to be me, Scott.
A lot of it is really about doing something you never have done.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to date myself. So back when I was in elementary, we had rope climbs, and we had the rigid pole to be able to climb up. So I'm dating myself a little bit back to elementary. But honestly, it's overcoming some fears. The knuckle to where that where it's being
that's high.
touched right there is 15 feet off the ground.
Wow.
This is a movement about understanding body awareness, core stability, huge into the arms, but also learning how to have a proper foothold.
Sure.
There's 3 different footholds that you can be able to utilize, and each one presents its positives and I don't want to say negatives, but
Sure.
As far as ascending or descending down the rope.
Yeah.
But, it was amazing to watch everybody embrace something new.
Sure.
Are we going to go out and in our daily lives climb a rope? Probably not. But, at Impact with this particular movement, we've basically leveled up, sort of a gamification type of a deal, leveled up their ability to be able to climb up a rope
I think
and
it's
understand the body mechanics necessary to do that.
Well, and I saw the pictures and I thought, good for them. Like, that's a testament to working hard.
Mm-hmm.
And as you said the last time you were here, and kind of what we're going to really talk about today with some hip health for sure, is the progress that people can make in a short amount of time, and maybe they don't realize it because it's just things that, as I'm sitting here, I'm always self-conscious when you're around, and I slept. So my wife worked overnight last night, and at one point I woke up and I was like laying across our bed, and now I'm like, it's like here, and then definitely I feel like I almost need to get adjusted because my hips literally feel like out of sync today. So that it's so perfect that we're going to talk about hip health, because I'm assuming that as you start on a program with someone like Scott at Impact Athletic Performance and you learn about hip health, you'll just, maybe you don't notice it, right away, but boy, I bet every day and every time you leave Impact Athletic, the next day you're going, oh, you know what? Everything's starting to feel a little bit better. I'm getting a lot more strength than I realized. Because how many of us right now are aware of like what kind of health condition our hips are in? It's one of those things you constantly hear, somebody's getting a knee replaced or a hip replaced. And I'm not saying that that's not going to be in my future, but boy, if I can prevent it.
Oh,
right?
You're right. And I think what's funny is that, you say just because I'm here, now you're thinking about posture. There are athletes that come through the mobility and the performance impact classes.
Yeah.
And they come in the next day, hey, I was doing this and this type of movement, or I was standing around, and I noticed that I was slumped. I noticed that I was leaning to one side. So now all of a sudden they understand body awareness.
Sure.
And when when we're on the phone, we're here. When in front of the computer,
Right.
all of a sudden, we open up. And it's sort of like they have my voice inside their head, which is a little bit scary.
Which is a good voice. Yeah, right. Nice voice.
But then you think about the hip mobility, and that's
Sure.
and that's obviously where we want to put our focus in on today. Think about as you were sleeping.
Yeah.
Muscles tend to, I don't want to say atrophy, they're just not being used.
Sure.
And so we wake up, we're a little bit stiff. But then what do? We generally will, change, we might sit down if we
Sure.
have a quick breakfast, but then what do? We hop in a car, we're
Right.
sitting, we drive to our job. Maybe it's a half an hour, maybe it's just 5 minutes down the way, but then what do? We go into the office, we sit down again.
Right.
Could be all morning, we might get up a little bit, we go to lunch. Guess what? We get back in a car,
Right.
and it's this rinse and repeat
sit,
of everything.
sit.
And then at the end of the evening, what do? We go. Generally, we will sit down.
Right.
Whether it's lazy boy couch, we're sitting. Our hips are in this constant state of flexion, and if we can't get good hip mobility, that's going to lead into lower back issues. When you look at the joints in our body, starting from the ground up, it alternates between a stable joint,
Right.
which is at the foot, and a mobile joint at the ankle.
Okay.
Knees are for stability, hips, mobility,
Sure.
lower lumbar stability, thoracic spine, mobility. So you see the alternating pattern.
I've never
there.
looked at it that way. And it's fascinating hearing you say that because it's so true, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And you think about where people have common issues, and it's ankles or it's hips, right? Because I'm taking for granted my ankles and my hips, right? Like I'm just assuming that, I could bust out 100 calf raises right now and that'd be cool, but what's it doing to my ankles? What am I doing to make sure that my ankles are able to support my larger frame? Same thing with the hips though, right?
And is your body ready to perform something like that? So getting
Sure.
ankle mobility exercises is really key.
Sure.
But when you look at why our lower back hurts,
Right.
lower back, where it's being hurt is generally a stable joint, and that's just a symptom. So what happens is at a stable joint, you look above and you look below. So it's the thoracic spine meant to rotate, hips meant to rotate.
Right.
When those aren't playing together and working correctly, there's this little bit of argument going on.
And that's where I wonder how many people, Scott, will, maybe it's that chronic back pain, and then to seek a treatment, they're getting like an injection, but it's not addressing.
It's not
it's not
exactly. It's a
addressing
temporary
what could be,
fix.
Exactly, and that's where I think with what you're able to do with Impact Athletic Performance is really teach people, and I think folks like myself, it's just a willingness to learn, and you've brought a lot of props here. And my thought is maybe Chad and Chris, what we'll do is slide these tables forward a little, because you brought a bunch of stuff, and I definitely want to be able to show people. Maybe we can show pictures and videos, but after the last time you were on the show, you had me do, I don't know, was it a hip? What did you had me? You tested me for something, and I feel like I failed miserably. And thank goodness it wasn't televised. But
exactly.
And I don't think I've gotten any better since the last time you were here.
Right.
But it was a pretty simple test, right?
Well, and honestly, there's not a quick silver bullet to be able to do this. This is, do we want to sign up for a lifetime of mobility? Well, yeah. If you want to move to where you can play with your grandkids, where you can play a sport every now and then, this is something you want to do every day. We're going to do 3 assessments that we do at Impact.
Okay.
And it's all hip related and a little bit of thoracic spine.
Cool.
That it's my job as a coach and an owner, especially when you do personal training, to understand how you move. So when we program, I'm just not throwing something against the wall and say, hey, here, move.
That makes total sense.
These are things specifically for you. And so, we're going to do 3 assessments, and this is derived from the Titleist Performance Institute.
Okay.
Yes, it is a golf type of assessment,
Sure.
but talk about rotational athletes. Think about when you're driving your van. You didn't get the ticket, did you? You mentioned last time.
I haven't got it yet, so let's not jinx.
All right,
Scott, let's not jinx the fact that the ticket might still show up, man. I don't know.
I think you're
That's
okay.
hilarious. I was thinking about that the other day too. I was like, maybe they heard me talking about it and they threw that ticket away. That's awesome.
Think about as you're in your car, or you reach back at a stoplight.
Sure.
Obviously not driving at
Right.
55 miles an hour, but as you're reaching back, you still have to rotate. So there's some rotational aspect.
Sure.
And that's why everyone that comes through Impact is not members, they're athletes. Because we have a body, we're an athlete. And so...
and I like how functional you can make it. I mean, there's people that are working in like the produce department right now, and all they're doing all day, Scott, is lifting and twisting, and are they, and then, but even if you're at home and you've got kids or grandkids, nieces or nephews. I mean, I got the 3 kids, and you make all these weird movements, and you're wrestling on the ground, and sometimes you hear something pop or whatever, you don't know. So it's just about being able to do all those things and not look at it as, oh man, I'm gonna, I'm worried about something going out of place, or I don't. Exactly. I mean, you want to be healthy enough to play with your kids and grandkids, but for a lot of us, that's something that, maybe we're not at a place where that makes the most sense to be really getting on the ground. And I'm going to go to the Y and new
And the amazing thing is that we can have shoulder pain because of an inactive glute on the other side.
That's crazy.
It's just amazing connection. And I don't want to dive too deep into the weeds, but those are the good things that you find out when you start doing the assessments and when you start working out.
Sure.
That particular one that was on the on the screen there in regards to a side plank.
Sure.
It's actually a very good one to connect our right lat down into our left glute. So there's a lot, and it goes through the core. And so there's a lot of good things that we can do to be able to prep our body correctly.
All right, let's slide these tables forward. And Chad, I don't know if we have wireless mic, or I can use my mic, but we're gonna get after it a little bit here, folks. So this is the nice thing about this setup in here is we have a little bit more room, and plus there's probably not going to be as many people walking around with grocery carts, like in the previous location for the show. Okay, so you brought a whole bunch of different stuff. I think we just had seen a picture of the, is it called a power sandbag? What is that thing called?
DVRT.
Okay.
And it's an ultimate sandbag.
Ultimate sandbag.
And so,
Ultimate sandbag,
a matter of fact, a good friend of mine, she's a master trainer for Ultimate Sandbag.
Nice.
We were having to talk about it last night. She had a training seminar in Las Vegas last night, and we were talking about the demands of what that does versus maybe just a regular weighted plate.
Cool.
But what I want to do with you, we're going to do 3 tests.
Okay.
And hopefully we have a good enough view that we can see upper body and lower body moving.
Okay.
So what I want you to do is we're going to get into a slight hinge, and then I want you to put your hands on your shoulders right here.
You guys should turn on my side. Let's see. Oh, that's probably better, right?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. That's fine.
So
what I want you to do is I want you to hold the hips still, and I want you to rotate through your have is stability. You don't have, your body doesn't right now have the ability to be able to disassociate the hips from the upper body.
Even just standing here right now, my hips, like I can't even, how do I?
Yeah, so when we were talking about the van reference, so are you able to come back here, rotate through your thoracic spine, or are you finding yourself you have to go here to reach behind?
Right.
We'll do the same. Now what I'm going to do, rotate the hips. Yeah. And so now you have a little bit of a tail wag, not necessarily true rotation.
It's so weird to be able to not feel like you can do it, and then in an instant you're like, oh, you know what, I can do it just fine.
Let's see, and then our last one. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on it. Let's see.
The next one is we're going to climb the rope to the ceiling. No, please.
Exactly.
Not a rope in the restaurant. Yeah.
Pelvic tilt.
Pelvic tilt. Okay.
So, if this is our hip, and I'll get it towards the camera here, which there we go. Yeah. So when our hips tilt forward, that is anterior pelvic tilt. Okay. And what that does, it creates this extremely exaggerated lower spine arch. We live in there. Right. That's where we live, and not by doing anything wrong, but that's just where we live. So what we're going to do is this top hip, we want to be able to tuck it underneath ourselves. And so what that means...
Under. I don't even understand. I hope y'all are appreciating that I'm willing to go to these lengths for you. All right, let's
take one for the team.
Yes.
So it's the same... Same small hinge. Now, I want you to be able to keep the shoulders still, and I want you to be able to, as I don't want to touch the mic, we're going to go into this anterior tilt. Okay. Then I want you to bring the pelvis right underneath. I don't know. There we go. This is where we want to go. Yeah, so you're going to keep the shoulders still. Okay. And I want you to be able to tuck the hips. There again, it's another common.
Am I moving the wrong?
It's kind of moving right here. This is what you're doing versus being able to tuck under. Come here, tuck under.
So
we're not twerking by any means, but it's honestly the same sort of.
So out of these 3 tests, have I failed all of them? And I'm not saying that I'm like. I understand where I'm probably at, where I can go, but it's just a trip when you're able to understand, like, oh, you know what? When my shoulders didn't move, I could get my hips moving, and likewise with being able to.
We never really, we don't necessarily call it failing a test.
Sure.
We have found inhibitions in your body that we can improve.
Sure.
So this is your baseline. And through that, we can do not only thoracic rotations where we'll keep the hips in line and just work through here. We'll do the same thing going elsewhere. The big one is as far as hip health and being able to tuck underneath. Now, if you were to give me a profile, that lower back, what I was talking about in anterior tilt, here, this is where we live. If we try to reach anything overhead or lift over anything overhead, and then we add this rounded shoulder, we're going to have some lower back pain.
And is that where people feel that literally that impact when you're lifting something, if you have bad form or bad technique,
yes,
not good pelvic hip health, where you feel it's almost like something is,
if
much as it should be a shoulder, it's really can go right into that lower back, right?
If we don't have good hip health, and honestly, we can build from the ground up, ankle mobility, hamstrings, calves, everything else. If we were to lift something overhead, but we're not able to control our hips, if we have anything overhead, imagine all that pressure coming straight down into a bent spine. So that's where it's critical we get neutral hips.
Gotcha.
You cannot technique your way out of a lift. You have to be able to do the movement, the lift correctly.
Yeah.
And so that's our one of the major focuses that we have at Impact.
Right.
Obviously, you can move ahead. If you're in a bad position, you're going to hurt yourself.
And that's so right. So that if it doesn't matter if you've got 500 pounds over your head, if you're doing it wrong, what good is it doing for you?
Exactly.
That's what you're saying, right? So if you're out there and you're thinking, well, I'm never going to be able to lift 150 pounds over your head. That's not about the amount of weight. It's about doing it right. So then, because I think it's more, how long are your average classes?
55 minutes.
Okay, so if you're going a couple times a week with Scott at Impact, it's still just a 55-minute interval. What are you doing for the rest of your day?
Exactly.
Right? And then if you have a day in between, like, what are you doing? Because I don't want people to feel like, man, they're going to do all this right, and then, because I think that's where it's really a lifestyle thing, right?
Yes.
Because you're going to go very quickly from quickly understanding how this is all super relevant in the hip health, so that when you're out, your posture hopefully will get better.
Yeah.
When you're reaching in the car, you're going to understand the mechanics of that, right? And that's good habits, and that's what I think you're doing such a good job. I got to ask about the sandbag thing, and I don't even know what else is over there. There's like a some type of a ball or what?
Yeah, and and if we're able, I don't know if we are able to or not, but just from that quick assessment, I feel now, like I said, there's no silver bullet. Generally, we'd look at 35 to 45 minutes worth of true mobility just at the hips to be able to get some benefit. But knowing that your hips are locked in, quads are extremely tight, pulling everything towards the front, and so if we can loosen these up a little bit, your hip flexors are key. The entire area around the hips is key, honestly. But when we can start loosening these hip flexors up, we may find a little bit of mobility in regards to getting your hips to be able to find neutral.
That makes sense.
And then, the funny thing is, as we start doing this, you maybe end up being more sore later today.
Oh, I'm sure.
But it's not because of anything other than we've now woken up that area.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I think people will benefit from that first time they come and see you, is you'll feel like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know there were things in my hip that could be woken up. Give it a little knock. So what? Yeah, I mean, we can. I'll try anything. You know what I mean? I'm willing.
So what we're gonna try to do?
Just tell me what you want me to grab.
Let's go ahead and grab the foam plyo box there.
Okay, this whole box right here.
Yep. And then we'll grab that blue Eric's pad. I think I can actually grab that.
Okay.
All right. So are we able to? Let's see. Are we able to? Do you want us to swing over here?
That's as wide as we can get.
That's as wide as we can get.
Well, people will be able to see where I'm standing, right? Because if I step up on something,
there we go. Okay. There we go. So. What I'm going to have you get into is called couch stretch.
Okay.
And you'll understand why.
Did you say couch stretch?
Couch, yes.
Okay.
You can do this.
Okay.
Get off the couch and use it as an implement to be able to stretch. So what I want you to do is that we're going to be in a half kneel. So this right leg is going to be up. The top of the foot is going to be on the box, and you're going to put your knee right here.
Okay, perfect. In dress pants.
In dress pants, yes.
So, literally just like that?
Mm-hmm. Just the top of the knee on the box.
What's the best way to
Excuse me, the top of the foot on the box.
Top of the foot on the box.
Yep, and then kneel down.
Give me a hand, Scott. Oh. Okay.
Tony's down. Tony's down. Right. So, We're going to get this.
Holy stretch.
Yeah.
I can feel that.
And honestly, you're not even doing anything right now.
I'm not doing anything.
And so,
Chris, give me a hand job. Yeah, go ahead.
so what I want you to do is a very proud chest.
Okay.
Not necessarily having the shoulders go back,
Okay.
but what happens is that what we're trying to do is start bringing the hips underneath, and you're going to feel a huge stretch in these hip flexors. Yeah. And so honestly, we're working through the top of the foot to create some irradiated tension through the leg, and then we're also just trying to get a nice stretch through these hips. And so we would do this, for 2 or 3 sets. Now we'll have you get to the other side.
That is, I just have to tell everybody, just getting into that move,
Yes.
I mean, all through the front just felt good.
Yeah.
But like that burn stretch, like you're saying, hello,
Now-
my leg was saying, remember us?
Let's go ahead and do the other side.
Okay.
So we're at least getting a good stretch in symmetrically.
Okay.
And there again, top of the foot. There we
That's
go.
a lot better. Okay. A little bit of a flop down.
And so what's going to happen is that this particular plyo box that's 12 inches, 14,
Yeah.
16, we can go up to 20. But think about when you're watching TV, if the kids are asleep, or do they ever
Sure.
sleep?
Sometimes.
You could do this on the edge of your couch. So this is 5 minutes. You're watching American Horror Story or whatever you're watching on Netflix currently. You can do this just for 5 minutes, and it's maybe you're starting out 30 seconds each leg, and then going to the other one. Do this for 3 sets. So what we're trying to do is trying to lengthen here, because everything is just jacked down, and pulling our hips here. So we're trying to get lengthened.
I'm not
through
just
here.
saying this because you're here and that I did that, but I really feel better in just a couple of seconds. I mean, it was like there's so much tension that just doing something that subtle. Holy smokes.
And like I said, so we would do,
That's great.
in personal training, we would do 3 sets of these, and we would try to get 30 seconds in each time.
Sure.
We would do some various other ankle mobility.
Okay.
And we, just from lack of room, the ankle mobility would actually be in that same half kneel. And you know what? We can take the box away.
Okay.
Just put your left knee on the mat, and you're going to be in this half kneel.
Left knee on the mat.
Yeah, we'll just start there.
Back up over here, right?
We can. Right over here?
Yeah. Perfect. So left knee is going to go on the mat itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
And so,
Okay.
and then you're putting the right foot right in front of you. So now we're going to just work with ankle mobility. We're just going to work with ankle mobility.
Okay.
This is, this would be a test that I would view ahead of time. But you're just looking to now your back foot is the toe down.
Okay.
Yep, we're going to work through that toe. Now, obviously, it's easier without dress shoes. So you're going to drive your knee ahead of your toes.
Okay.
So now we're working this ankle mobility.
Oh, yeah.
We're keeping the heel grounded.
Okay.
So now what we're starting to do is work through the ankle, stretch the calves, and then we'll come back out and then go forward. So there again, we would do particular reps, a rep scheme of this. We could actually add a 35-pound kettlebell on this to be able to help
Why
you.
would you do that?
Well, now that we're getting better motion for you,
Right.
now because we're creating a buffer. So now we've created more movement. We want to be stronger in that new movement.
Yeah.
New movement's great, but let's get strong in there.
And as soon as you're talking about that, feeling it in the ankle, I mean, it's one thing to hear you say it, but as I'm leaning, the ankle I felt it. Mm-hmm. And I didn't think I would be, but what do I know? That's why you're here. But it was just nice to be able to have you say it, and then as soon as that lean happened, drove that heel in, the ankle was like...
And
hey,
my
old
big
friend.
thing is that tennis shoes, dress shoes, they lie to our feet. They, it's basically paramount to putting a arch supports.
Sure.
It's like, oh my,
Sure.
my arch is always here. My
Right.
feet hurt. So what we're going to do is, so if you have a natural arch, so we're just going to add something here. Well, guess what? If you're going to add an orthopedic or something to that, well, that arch says, I guess I don't have to work anymore. It's going to become weaker.
Sure.
So the Merrells that I have are minimal shoes, so all my feet are constantly having to work.
Sure.
I can barely wear running shoes anymore just because they don't feel comfortable to me, and they don't put my foot in a proper position. Dress shoes are the same way. You know, they squeeze our feet in. Our feet are meant to be super wide.
Sure.
And that's what these type of shoes do.
I was going to say, Scott's got these cool shoes on that, like, and we can get in this other shot right there. So right there, you know, I see him walk in, and I'm like, I feel like he's just like they're painted on. But you're saying that's the best as far as. And then it's a flat bottom. Then is that right?
It's just a totally flat bottom.
That's cool.
Totally flat bottom.
Look at how flat that is. And I am definitely somebody that has a super high arch. Like, I've been to a podiatrist once in my life, and he was like, "Oh, you have the same feet as your grandpa." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, you just have super high arch."
Yeah.
And they were like, "Well, you should probably look into arch support." But hearing you say that,
it makes sense. I mean, in my opinion, that's the worst thing we could do.
Sure.
Think about, let's see, what other applications?
Because as soon as you're barefoot, and built-in support, you would notice it, right?
And it's something you have
put shoes on if I'm hitting the steps to the basement to change laundry, but then I don't know. I notice when I'm barefoot that it just feels better. All right, we're getting a mat.
One more to really emphasize how we can get into hips, and I'm put you in a compromising position.
Oh boy,
we're on live TV, so this is going to be. I want to have you in quadruped, which means you're going to be on hands and knees.
Okay.
And
I like that Scott's demoing this first. There we go.
Wrist, elbow, shoulders are going to be stacked.
Okay.
Knees and hips are stacked. That's our strongest position. What we're going to do is I want to get you into you see these in yoga classes called cat-cow. Cat-cow. Okay. So I'm going to come over here so I don't pull my microphone out. So what we're going to do. Just don't. It could be mad cow. We don't know. So what I want you to do is I want you to protract, which means round your shoulders. I want you to push into my finger. So I had a hot poker coming this way. Okay. You're going to push in here, push into my finger, push into my finger here, here, push into it, push into it.
I feel like I'm not pushing anything.
Yeah, there's a lot of things frozen with you right now. So keep on pushing. Can you push? Push. Nothing. So, have you had a history of low back pain?
Well,
or at least stiffness.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So, what I want you to do now is, can you push away from my finger?
So, like push down?
No, push from where your spine is. Push away from my finger. So there. It is. Yes. Yep. Now keep the arm straight. Push down. Push down. I want you to start looking up. Looking up. And then this I want you to be able to there. Yeah. So, we have some lower back issues, some glute issues, some hip issues to keep you from doing this. So, let's round the shoulders again. Push into. Let's go the other way. You're going to start tucking your chin. Push into my fingers. Hot poker coming this way.
Okay.
Push, 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 push. There. Push in. Push in. Push in. So when we can get good spine health too, basically you're dead from here down. But what it is in all seriousness is your body isn't aware of what it's able to do.
And I bet, because I like going to the chiro. It's been a while, and Jeff Hansen's able to get a lot of things moving.
Yes.
And then I feel great. Right now, I'm definitely feeling the like the hip is up and things are just kind of out of whack.
Yeah.
But I also know that part of being able to hold an adjustment is being in better shape and getting things, strengthened so that you're literally able to hold.
Oh, and
if I'm too sedentary and you get adjusted, it's going to hold for a day, but then, right?
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head.
Sure.
I mean, chiropractors are wonderful. Mine, she's been a lifesaver for me.
Sure.
But you're right. So once you get the adjustment, and that's good, it gets you back in a neutral position where you need to be. But now we need to start getting that mobilized and strengthened.
Yeah.
And I don't want to put chiropractors out of business. That's not I'm looking to do.
No, it's true though.
But you can potentially minimize those follow-up appointments when we can start getting strength through those areas.
And to your point, I mean, ultimately, wouldn't you like to be able to minimize having to just think, well, you know what, my dad had to get a total knee replaced. I'll probably have the same issues or hips. Like, wouldn't you rather give it a shot?
Absolutely.
Give it your best impact, right, with Scott, because at least you have a fighting chance. And I've left the chiropractor's office and literally getting into my car, moving my neck weird, and I've lost my adjustment.
Yeah.
And I know that I've been in better shape, and you just feel better. I got to ask you about the sandbag and the ball before we wrap up, just because they're there and I'm curious. And the sandbag thing is super cool, but the ball as well.
This is just a yoga ball. We use it as an advanced cue.
Okay.
Whether we're doing hip cars, and a car stands for controlled articulated rotation, or I can use it for you when we were in that cat-cow position in quadruped to be able to say, okay, here's your pressure. Push against this. Raise this yoga ball up.
It was so weird. I was trying. And I know my shoulders are strong, but it doesn't matter again, right?
It doesn't.
If the health of my spine and my low back, I mean, I could lift 100 pounds, but what is that doing for the rest of my body?
And so the sandbag, this is just a little over 10 pounds. And the beauty of this product is not only can we use it to go overhead, we have a couple movements, a core movement called dead bug.
Okay.
And I don't necessarily want to, I guess I could demonstrate it, but it creates that lat, core, and glute, that connection that we all need for good strength. Because if right shoulder is overused, basically means that our left glute is not firing properly. We've overused this because our left side may not be as strong. So it's this wonderful connection. Even helping out on a squat. And, and I didn't test the squat on you.
Sure.
I don't know if I want to go there or not for your sake. But the fact is that, when we squat.
Look at how Scott just drops right down. Right. Everybody.
When we squat, we like to do this. And that's a quad dominant squat.
Right.
And my guess is that's where you're going to be.
Yeah, but even knowing, like what I know is just trying to keep the
chest up. Now,
that butt
and
out and back.
You probably
Did
didn't
you catch
see that. Probably didn't see that on
feel
video.
Good?
Guess what? That lower back is this.
Is that bad?
Yeah.
Son of a biscuit. I thought that was going to be good. I was like trying to remember, get that butt to just.
So one of the things that we can do now,
everybody.
I mean, obviously I'm able to do this back, back's fairly straight and I can get down here. But for people to get out of that quad dominant squat, what we'll do is that we'll take this sandbag.
Oh no.
We're gonna break it apart, but what we're gonna do is use it as a counterweight. So now we're pressing out
that's genius.
And coming in here. And so we can do this if you have time. But it's it's one of the ways that we.
Well, I definitely want to try and do the pushing out thing because we already know where I'm going to be at.
All right, so let's go ahead and do this. Do we got time? Let's go. Let's. I just want to see the squat real quick and see where we are.
You need to walk me through it because I'm going to do my bad form probably, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm shoulder width apart.
And then get into a squat. Not too bad. There again, you're getting that little bit of lower back, but not too bad. Like I said, there's a lot of people that are actually looking down when they're trying to get into a squat.
Sure.
So now, if you were to take this, we're going to use this as a counterweight. Grab it right through the hand, right through the middle.
Gotcha. Okay.
I want you to break that bag, and so basically you're driving your thumbs outward, and that's going to bring the elbows in. Now, bring it to your chest.
Okay.
And as you squat, I want you to press out from this point straight out, getting into a squat. I see better spine.
Good. I understand what you're saying.
Angle.
When you were saying about pressing and driving it, and as I was doing that, it almost felt like I was able to get into a better squat position.
Yeah, to
But
be
why
more
is
upright.
that? Is it part of a mental? I mean, I understand how a 10-pound weight can be beneficial, but is there also something to the mental side of it where
It's grooving a body movement that's
Sure.
more appropriate.
Sure. Okay.
You know, if you think of a front
That's a good way to put
squat
it.
where we're here,
Right.
or a back squat if we have a bar on our back and we're coming down here, guess
Right.
what? You're going to face plant right
Right.
in. So now we're really trying to work glutes, core
No,
to
I
be
like
able
that
to
a lot.
be
Yeah.
to be able to be in this particular form. So there again, it gets the movement over the max. Let's have a smaller weight.
Sure.
Let's groove the pattern into you that all of a sudden, think about, obviously, me as a golfer,
Sure.
a practice swing. What does that do? We're going to get muscle memory.
Yep.
We're working here. This
So
is what I
every
want to
time
do.
you're doing it in the correct form.
So when we're through group
Yeah.
training, we very rarely will do anything that is super heavy.
Sure.
We try to do a rep scheme of anywhere from 7 to 10 reps, and
Makes
that's
sense.
just in 30 seconds.
Wow.
And we can change that. If it's 15
Sure.
seconds, we'll go 3 to 5 reps. If it's more, we can go
Yeah.
higher. But it adjusts the weight. And so really we're just grooving the pattern
I like
that
it.
when you can move up in weight,
Sure.
whether it's for a back squat, front squat, now your body remembers, oh, this is what I want to do. But it's notwithstanding, we still have to work ankle mobility, still have to work the lower extremities, get the glutes firing, strong core, strong back, to be able to be comfortable like this with a bunch of
Perfect
weight.
squat form.
I know.
Just perfect squat form. That's the groove. I mean, you're in the groove, right?
Yeah. But
gotta
see,
be.
And that's
But
the
that-
fun thing
yeah.
that we do, to be able to bring an athlete in who like you, cannot be,
Yeah.
doesn't have the ability yet to tuck the hips.
Sure.
And then in 45, 50 minutes to be able to see a little bit of movement.
That's
And
exciting,
to see it in their
right?
eyes. And that's why I'm in this. I
Yeah.
love the fact of being able to help people move better than they ever have.
Well, and we come back to what we started talking about, climbing the rope, right? Could all those people do that when they first started to see it impact athletic performance?
Absolutely
Where were
not.
they at? Where have they gotten? And where do they want to go?
And
That's
how
really
and,
exciting.
and how this is going to translate. So next time that I come in,
Yeah.
we're going to talk about that neutral hip position.
Okay.
So when we're pushing a cart,
Sure.
when we're
Yeah.
carrying groceries,
Sure.
maybe even to the point of riding a bike, or we're pushing a stroller, lawnmower.
Pushing snow soon.
Pushing
right?
snow.
Lawnmower. Yeah.
Yeah, a lawnmower especially.
Yeah.
That are we pushing it like this, where our chest is out and our lower back is in a bad curve?
Yeah.
Or do we have the hips underneath us? Do we have the shoulders down? And are we in better form? A lot of people are not thinking about this. So it's that little.
I feel like
I
cutting
hate-
the grass. I know when I have bad form versus good because I feel it.
Yeah.
And I feel it.
And-
And I mean, maybe the idea is big and tall lawnmowers. I don't know, but I know that if I'm in a bad form,
Yes.
I'm gonna feel it.
Yeah.
And it's just, that's where those everyday movements. Because if you're watching this and you're thinking, I'm never gonna find myself at Scott's Impact Athletic Performance, that's fine. But you should at least appreciate how reaching in the back of your car and life can be improved if you understand how you can treat your hips better.
Well,
and
and
the ankles, it's also relevant, right? And I think that we're just conditioned to think as you get older, well, maybe I'll go on a walk and then I guess I'll have to have that ankle surgery or that hip replacement or that knee replacement. And maybe that doesn't have to be your truth. And you probably have people that have come to see you on day one that were discouraged, but after that first, like you said, 50, 55 minutes, they're like, oh my gosh, I can do this. And the next time it gets better and easier and better. And I don't know. I can see this being super beneficial for a lot of people.
The real life example is I have a good friend of mine on the PGA Tour. His name is Bo Van Pelt, and he just he played in his first PGA Tour event in 3.5 years just this
Wow.
past weekend. But how he injured his shoulder, he had a torn labrum. Now, that's excessive, but what was his movement? He was sitting in a car. He reached back for a backpack. It was 20 pounds heavier. It was a movement he didn't expect. Went whoop, and he knew something was wrong.
That's a professional golfer.
Yes,
wow.
And he was done for 3.5 years.
Oh my gosh.
And so, he went through enough rehab. He had a proper surgery, and he's gone through his rehab. He's playing pain-free now.
Yeah.
Will what we do at Impact or anything workout-wise prevent that? No.
Sure.
But we are going to put you in a better position to understand, how am I reaching back?
Sure.
And what if this is 20 pounds heavier? Do I really need to do this? Or do I need to come around and grab it with two hands? Because we take so much for granted.
How am I lifting an 80-pound speaker? And why do I always feel like it's...
In your DJ business, yes.
Right. Why am I... And then here in the store, lifting stuff and moving stuff. And I'm always, like, when I pick up, these 80-pound speakers that have a handle, I'm inclined to just... You're
going to get here, going to get into a big shrug. Let's set the shoulder down. Let's engage this opposite side to be able to, because everything's getting pulled here. Right. Let's engage this side.
Because sometimes when I'm here, I'm feeling it in my left knee.
It's carrying groceries.
Right.
We don't want to push the cart out.
Sure.
We want to load it all up with two hands, right? Because one, we're guys.
That's the best move ever. Yeah, the bag arm. Sure.
How are you carrying this? Are we carrying it like here?
Right.
Or are we setting the shoulders down and back, and there again, hips neutral, and be able to walk confidently and strong?
I definitely want to talk about the gait and how people step too next time you're here.
Definitely.
So as much as, I feel good, I'm sweating more than I like to on my own show, but that's okay. It's all about educating everybody that's watching, and Scott is able to do that on the show, and then the proof is in the pudding at Impact. Before we go, real quick, October starts tomorrow. Does that change anything for your schedule? People just need to reach out on the website, on social media. I just didn't know if there was anything new coming up in October that we should mention.
As much as September was about climbing the rope, October, this is a huge shoulder focus month. So we're gonna get people uncomfortable getting a new view of the world being in a handstand. And so we'll progress it just as we did.
I'm not doing a handstand on the show. Chris could do a handstand. That's something I never in my life, I'll tell you right now. Handstands, I've done pull-ups. I look at people that do handstands and I'm like, I just don't know. But you're here to tell me that if I committed.
And I'll be honest. So when I was getting into the rope climbing program, I was having difficulty, and I worked on it constantly to be able to do that. Me, for a handstand, freestanding handstand or a walk, I'm not there yet in my capability, but I can certainly. We'll kick up against a wall. We'll do wall walks. Sure. We'll do a lot of things that's going to build up that confidence to eventually be upside down. Are we going to use that in life? Probably not, but think about that leveling up. Hey, I can actually do a handstand. Sure. Maybe we can progress to a walking handstand or something.
No, I love it. I think what you're doing is great, and if people watching me, because I'm pretty much, middle of the road as far as I know I can lose some weight like I had, and then but it's one thing to lose weight, but then what else are you doing? Yeah. Like, imagine if I would have been smart when I lost 105 pounds if I was at your place. I might be sitting here with like an 8-pack or something,
svelte.
No shirt on. Yeah, I might not even have to wear a shirt.
Like a toy gun.
That would be a weird show, right?
Yeah, very weird.
I know my boss said red polo, but he didn't say it had to have sleeves on it. I appreciate you being here. Thanks for your time. Scott Schultz, Impact Athletic Performance, also a head varsity golf coach for Muscatine High School boys golf.
Yeah, we had
a little bit of a rain-out weekend. So then what happens for the MAC? What happens? You reschedule?
So Friday and Saturday were washed out. Just got the email this morning that we've rescheduled for this Friday.
Okay.
So we have actually a big schedule. Senior Day is Wednesday. We play PV, a little Ryder Cup style. We expand the roster like the major league teams.
Awesome.
And then so we'll have MAC on Friday. We play a practice round on Saturday at our district course. Then we have district on Monday.
Jeez.
So it's really up to the boys if they want to play the following weekend, then play well next Monday,
Yeah.
and then we're going to extend the season for 2 more days.
So a week from today, districts for Muskie Golf.
A week from today is
That's
district.
exciting. Well, good luck with that, and then we'll
Appreciate
have you back early November or late October.
I think late October.
Yeah, that works.
Yep.
You just tell me what works. Maybe we'll do this in Halloween costumes, everybody. That could have an excuse to have shorts on, at least. What's your costume? A slightly out of shape guy with a mustache, because I'm also going to have a mustache for my other costume. But if I have an excuse to wear shorts to work, wouldn't I be foolish not to? Right? Exactly. All right. We're going to go Toyota Muscatine Car Cam. I didn't really give Steve any direction today because I knew we were going to be getting after it, and that's okay. Oh, you know what? I'm glad he remembered. So it's the last Mega Meet Monday, everybody. So keep that in mind. If you need to get out and do some shopping, you can come to the store for the last Mega Meet Monday, right? 15 cents off per gallon with every 25 bucks you spend in the meat department. As you can see right there, Jeremy's working hard in the background. Seafood department or the deli department, they all would be part of that. And yeah, nobody's not going to be grilling on today, where the temps are going to be probably mid 80s at least. And then it cools down, right? So don't be surprised when fall does show up. Kind of one more hot day today. And that is a good looking case with your Muscatine Hy-Vee meat department. All right. I got to mention that Touchdown Tuesday. And if you're on Facebook, and I hope that you are, if you go to our Facebook page and you scroll down just a little bit, Touchdown Tuesday, Iowa Hawkeyes scored 48 points. You have a chance to get 48 cents on your fuel saver tomorrow if you come into the store, spend 48 bucks, and then you would show them the ad on your phone at the register, because there's a number on there. So I want you to be able to take advantage of that. There it is on the screen, by the way. So you show that and you save. So that number 95412, that's what they need to put in. And then you get that 48 cents on your fuel saver. So you could come in today, Mega Meet Monday, rock it out, stock up the freezer, stock up the fridge, fire up the grill, and then come back tomorrow, Touchdown Tuesday, with 48 bucks, 48 cents. Love it. That's going to be an awesome deal. And speaking of the Hawkeyes, this Saturday is the day that right where we're in the Market Grill Express, Herky the Hawkeye will be here from 9 to 11 a.m., the real mascot for the University of Iowa. Somebody asked me last week, is it just a Hy-Vee kid in a Herky costume? And I said no, because the university is like super protective about Herky, and they don't do a ton of events. So we're happy with the help of the Atlantic Bottling Company that brings Coca-Cola to the store. Jeff and Bill and the crew made this happen. They got that great display near the CBI Superbank here with the Iowa and Go Hawks spelled out in Coca-Cola. So that's awesome. And then Herky is going to have a coupon that he will give you to save on Coke 12 packs, 3 for $8. That's a ridiculous price. Never that cheap. You got to find Herky. So I'll tell you just the kind of the schedule. So this Saturday from 9 to 10, that full hour, we'll keep Herky here in the Market Grill Express. Herky takes a little break, 10 to 10:15. You know, need to kick back.
A Herky break.
Herky's going to be doing some hip flexors because those hips don't lie. And then from like 10:20 till 11, Herky will be going throughout the store, bagging groceries, you know, messing with people a little bit. Last time Herky was here, he found a guy with an Iowa State hat on, and he playfully tipped it off his head. And the guy was kind of mad, but it was Herky, so he got over it. And then he'll have those coupons the whole time. So if you want to get that Coke deal, and at the very least, bring the kids, right? Totally family-friendly event. And then the Hawkeyes will play at 11 a.m. against Michigan, and you can watch the game right here, of course. Let's just talk flu shot real quick, and then go into Wapello tomorrow. So, Scott, have you got a flu shot yet?
I have not.
Do you know that there's been confirmed cases of influenza in Muscatine County, Scott
I did not
Schultz?
hear this.
Look at this. The student has become the teacher. Now, when we give you your flu shot, you have to get into that couch pose. That's the only thing. Just you, though.
Just me?
You have to get into the couch stretch. 20 cents on the fuel saver. Awesome opportunity. We have a pharmacist on staff all day, you know, that can get you the flu shot. That's my favorite part about getting the flu shot here at Hy-Vee is you don't need to make an appointment, and there's always a pharmacist that administers the shot. So whether it's flu shot, shingle shot, I mean, I got like Tdap one for tuberculosis. They can do a lot of I can't say that word. Immunizations.
Easy for you to say.
Jeez Louise. Immunizations right in the pharmacy. They can get you taken care of. All right, going to Wapello tomorrow, each and every Tuesday and Thursday with Isles Online Grocery Shopping. We go to Wapello, we shop for people's orders, and we get them taken care of. I'm just so glad that nobody was trying to come in when I was in the
In a
They'd have been like,
compromised position.
we're never having breakfast in this place again. What is that
That's
guy
why I
been
brought
doing?
them at.
Luckily, most of the people that are here right now have seen the show happening, so they're not just like, I mean, they still might have their concerns, but it's all good. Isles Online, Wapello, it's awesome. You can see it on the screen. We go on Tuesdays and Thursdays. They're between 7 and 8. Place your order if you live in the Wapello area. Save yourself a trip. You meet us. We got the Hy-Vee vans. We hand you the groceries. It couldn't be easier, right? I mean, it's really an awesome service that is taking care of people that lost their local grocery store. So please, I encourage you to check that out. I didn't look up to see what national day it is, but I'll do that right now because we have a minute. Because I don't want to neglect you. I also want to give a shout out to Muscatine Charities. Seems like they had a good event Saturday at Geneva Golf and Country Club, their big annual fundraiser. They had a very funny stand-up comedian, Rocky Laporte, who used to perform a lot at Penguins in Davenport. So I don't want to say I know Rocky, like I don't want to be that guy, but I know Rocky a little bit. And I wasn't at the charities event, but I heard it was a good time. September 30th, everybody, is International Love People Day. There you go. International Chewing Gum Day. International Hot Mulled Cider Day. National Mud Pack, where you put a mud mask on. Ooh. And on my phone, I've got International Podcast Day. I do love listening to a podcast. I listen to a lot of podcasts. So, and I've thought about doing the Tony Tone podcast because I've got all these kids to clothe. Scott, you should have a podcast. All right. Thanks to Scott Schultz. Impact Athletic Performance is his business inside the former Washington School location. Address is 610 Maiden Lane. Sorry, I was close. I was there this morning taking my daughter to daycare on the other side. 610 Maiden Lane. Impact Athletic Performance. Improve the quality of your life. Get a hold of this guy. He's doing good work, and we appreciate him being here on the show. Definitely come see us today here at Hy-Vee for that last Mega Meet Monday, and tomorrow, Touchdown Tuesday. We look forward to taking care of you. Scott, class times for the rest of today?
Rest of today is 11:30
Okay.
and 5:30 our performance impact classes, and then 4:30 is our mobility impact.
Awesome. Check out his website. Get on Facebook. I feel better. I really do. I love that stretch that I can do on the couch.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like I'm gonna have a way better day. But I'm really self-conscious about that low back stuff. I gotta go to the chiro, and then I gotta start to strengthen it because I don't want temporary solutions, right?
Correct.
The analogy I always use is putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound, right? Like I want to stop doing that. All right. Thank you for watching the show. I appreciate it. If you've been with us on cable or social media, we thank you for tuning in. Thanks to CBI Bank and Trust, Toyota, Muscatine, and Team Staffing. See you tomorrow live at 8:30. But for now, we're out of here, right? Chris is going to towel me off, everybody. That's what's going to happen right now. Y'all stay tuned for the bonus show that comes on after this. See ya.
You're watching Hy-Vee Today with Tony Tone.
Be very, very quiet. We're hunting rabbits.
We'll do it again tomorrow with more local guests from in and around the Muscatine community.
I'm trying to emote for the play that the alumni are putting on in Wilton this Friday, Saturday.
Questions, comments, know a great guest? Reach out to Hy-Vee Today with Tony Tone on Facebook or via email, hyveetoday@gmail.com.